It's been in my friend's family for 45 years now, picked up at an auction somewhere along the Georgia coast. Solid metal, heavy duty, and massive, about 8 feet tall, 8 feet deep, and 7 feet wide. Nobody's quite sure what it does, but someone once said it might have been steam-powered. With its size and build, it definitely wasn't made for anything casual. Could it have been part of an old mill? A marine engine component? Any idea what this beast was used for? This is a component from a steam donkey, a powerful steam-powered winch that revolutionized heavy labor in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Steam donkeys were used to haul, lift, drag, and move incredibly heavy loads, and were especially common in logging, mining, farming, and early construction work. Originally mounted on sleds or skids, steam donkeys could be dragged into remote forests or rugged terrain. With long cables and a rotating spool powered by steam, they made it possible to pull felled trees up hills, move ore carts, or hoist massive equipment with relatively little manpower. It was found in a box of old household items, about 8 inches long, made of metal with a hollow tube and a sliding clip that moves up and down. No markings or labels. Looks like something mechanical, maybe part of a larger tool or device. What could this have been used for? This is an antique 1912 Chapin modified cream dipper, a rare and specialized tool once used in dairy processing, particularly for skimming cream off the top of milk after separation. Back in the early 1900s, before refrigeration and modern homogenization, milk was often left to sit, so the cream could naturally rise to the top. A tool like this would be used to carefully scoop or dip the cream without disturbing the milk below. The modified design by Chapin may have included improvements for precision, ease of use, or sanitation, which would have made it especially valuable at the time. Black painted metal object, roughly 8 to 10 inches long and under 5 pounds, found near doors on the USS Kidd in Baton Rouge. Tour guide didn't know what it was, guessed maybe some sort of small anvil. It's solid, heavy for its size, and doesn't appear to be a modern part. Could it be a doorstop, a strike block, or maybe a field-forged tool rest? What might this have been used for on a Navy ship? This is a tank wrench for a 5-inch powder canister, a specialized tool used in naval or military ammunition handling rooms. These wrenches were designed to open or secure powder canisters, which held the propellant charges for 5-inch naval artillery shells. They were typically mounted on the wall or placed in easy reach so that crew members could quickly and safely access or reseal the canisters during operations. The sturdy, often non-sparking design helped ensure safety while working around highly flammable materials. It was found underground in a garden in the UK, alongside other old metal objects like a blowtorch and copper vases, small and lightweight, about 1.5 inches long and just over half an inch wide, with a flange and an elongated hole in the middle, made of non-magnetic metal with a bit of patina. What could this have been used for? This is the runner of an umbrella, the sliding part that you push up or down to open and close the canopy. Each of the slots around the runner is designed to hold the end of a stretcher, the thin metal rod that connects the runner to the ribs, the parts that actually support the fabric. Based on the number of small slots, this piece likely came from an 8-rib umbrella, which is a common configuration for balance and strength. The larger slot on the side is where the spring-loaded locking mechanism engages. When you push the runner up, it clicks into place and keeps the umbrella open. Push the catch and it slides back down to close. It was found at a thrift store, ceramic vessel, around 8 to 9 inches tall, and it comes apart in 2 pieces. The bottom half is unglazed on the outside and hollow inside. The top section holds kerosene and has a metal ball with a wick. Almost looks like a lantern, but the design feels a bit unusual. Anyone seen something like this before? This is an oil lamp, a classic design used for lighting long before electricity became common. The bottom portion is the reservoir, where oil, usually kerosene or another lamp oil, would be stored. A wick would extend from the reservoir up into a burner, drawing oil upward through capillary action. When lit, the wick produces a steady flame, and many versions include a glass chimney to protect the flame and improve airflow for cleaner burning. It was found in the cafeteria of a recently closed elementary school, over 60 years old, about 9 inches long, roughly 6 pounds, and built like it was meant to last. The red polyurethane wheels roll forward and back, while the white plastic rollers spin side to side, but those feel loose, almost like they weren't meant for weight bearing. Could have been part of a cart system, maybe something used to slide heavy bins or trays in tight quarters. But with 2 sets of wheels on different axes, it almost seems like it was built to move something in multiple directions without lifting. Any ideas what this thing is? This is a component from a playground glider, specifically the handle and hanging assembly used in a zip-style ride where kids hold on and glide horizontally beneath a fixed overhead beam. The handle hangs down from a carriage that runs inside a track or enclosed beam, allowing the rider to safely slide from one end to the other using their body weight. These types of gliders are often found on playground zip tracks, jungle gyms, or obstacle courses, offering a fun way to build upper body strength and coordination. This stainless steel tool looks deliberately crafted, precise, mechanical, and probably designed for something repetitive. It's about 10 inches long with finger rests and a locking, retractable center ring. The tip even has a small arrow that moves side to side like a guide, but strangely, no blades or cutting parts. It came with other medical instruments, and someone floated the idea that it was used for circumcision or castration, but that seems unlikely. There's nothing sharp. No place to attach anything sharp, and nothing about it screams surgical. What could a precision, stainless steel tool like this have been used for, especially one with a guide tip but no cutting function? This is an antique tonsil guillotine, a surgical instrument once used for performing tonsillectomies. The removal of the tonsils. The loop or pincers near the end were designed to grip or encircle the tonsil, holding it steady. Once positioned, the surgeon would slide or trigger the blade mechanism, which moved quickly across the loop to slice off the tonsil in a single motion. Tools like this were most common in the 19th and early 20th centuries, before the introduction of modern anesthesia, electrosurgical methods, and better infection control. They were built for speed and minimal bleeding, often used in clinics, field hospitals, or even school settings. It was found in a shed on waterfront property, solid metal, around 5 pounds, a bit longer than 10 inches. The yellow paint's chipped in places, and the markings read Bell System D, General Machine, and 603. The top has a D-shaped piece that rotates when the lower bracket is moved. Any idea what it could be? This is a D-cable block and lifter, a specialized tool used in utility work, particularly for running new cable between telephone poles or power lines. It's shaped to hang securely from poles, and it typically holds a pulley or sheave in the open center. The pulley guides and supports the cable as it's pulled through, helping to prevent tangles, abrasion, or strain during installation. In this case, the sheave is missing, but the frame clearly shows its original purpose. These tools are commonly used by linemen and cable crews when installing or replacing lines across multiple poles. Durable and built to handle heavy loads, they're essential in long-span cable jobs where control and safety are critical. It was found in an old garage. About 10 pounds of solid iron, rust-colored and clearly aged. The base measures roughly 12 by 8 inches, not counting the long handle. When the handle's turned, all 3 spindles rotate in the same direction. Looks like it was built to twist something, maybe repeatedly and under tension. What kind of task would have needed a mechanism like this turning all 3 spindles together? This is a rope-making tool designed for twisting 3 individual strands into a single, durable rope. It works by securing each strand in a rotating hook or spindle. As you crank the handle, the tool twists each strand tightly while also spinning the entire assembly, causing the strands to wrap around each other in a helical pattern. This twisting motion balances tension and direction, creating a strong, evenly laid rope. It was found at a local estate sale in Orlando, weighs around 54 pounds, stands about 16 inches tall, and measures roughly 11 inches across. Heavy-duty, solid, and sealed shut. No markings, no labels. Do you have any idea what this could have been used for? This is a rock tumbler, a device used to smooth and polish rough stones through a process called abrasive tumbling. It works by placing rocks, water, and abrasive grit into a rotating drum. As the drum slowly turns, the rocks rub against each other and the grit, gradually smoothing their edges and polishing their surfaces over several days or weeks. The process typically happens in multiple stages, each using a finer abrasive until the stones are glossy and rounded. Rock tumblers are popular with hobbyists, jewelry makers, and geology enthusiasts. They're used to reveal the natural beauty of stones like agate, jasper, and quartz, and can turn ordinary pebbles into polished gems. It was part of a box of old tools bought at a market. Compact and oddly built, about 6 inches long, stamped with patent number 7446/11, possibly from WLLT or WCLLT. The handle folds and locks into place, allowing it to turn the blade independently from the threaded shaft. The blade itself is secured with a small screw and looks swappable. Some guesses lean toward a reamer or specialized screwdriver, maybe even something related to electrical or machining work. Anyone recognize what this tool might have been designed for? This is the handle of an old valve grinder, a tool used for lapping and seating engine valves, especially in T-head engines, a design common in the early 1900s. In a T-head engine, the intake and exhaust valves were on opposite sides of the cylinder, often with spark plug threads located in front of the valves. This design required specific tools that could fit into tight, angled spaces and still apply even pressure while grinding. The valve grinder handle would attach to a suction cup or abrasive tool, which was placed on the valve head. The mechanic would then rotate the handle back and forth, grinding the valve against the seat with lapping compound to ensure a proper seal for combustion. It was found in a 100-plus-year-old Minnesota barn. Rough-cut wooden board, about 2 feet long, 5 inches tall, 4 inches deep. 2 metal handles, one on each end, and 24 round holes carved along the bottom portion. Each hole has 2 smaller concentric circles inside it. There's also a faded marking that looks like MAONS on both the top and bottom. No moving parts, but there is hardware on top that seems like something could have been threaded through it. Any ideas what this might have been used for? This is a rack for Babcock bottles used in conjunction with the Babcock test, a method developed in the 1890s to measure the butterfat content in milk. Dairymen and farmers would place small, specialized glass Babcock bottles into this rack, add milk, sulfuric acid, and spin them in a centrifuge. The acid dissolved the non-fat components of the milk, allowing the butterfat to separate and rise to the top of the calibrated bottle for easy measurement. This simple test helped identify which cows were producing rich, high-fat milk, the ones worth keeping for breeding and milking, and which ones might be better suited for meat. It revolutionized dairy science by offering a reliable, low-cost way to improve herd quality. Tools like this were found in dairy barns, co-ops, and agricultural schools well into the 20th century. Picked up at a thrift store, possibly an old lathe attachment. It's a heavy iron piece, about 9 inches by 5 inches, and clamps down firmly and squarely. A floating pointer on a sliding mechanism that doesn't seem to align with common tools. There are no markings anywhere, nothing to trace it by. It's definitely not an ice skate sharpener, mail slot flap, jointer fence, leather splitter, or letterpress add-on. Still on the maybe list. Sawtooth setter, light-duty metal bender, or something for scoring leather or cardboard. But none of those seem to line up perfectly. Anyone recognize this thing? What could that floating pointer have been for? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop your answer in the comments below the video.